Alright, welcome to another match of Ether Raids. We're taking on KC in this one. That's a school where I'm from, a big, really popular school. But yeah, here we go. We're gonna double save this. It's gonna be a real pain because of Tina here. I feel like her value, Tina in particular, has skyrocketed a ton, especially in Astra Anima, because I have a ton of buffs here. None of my teams could really match up to this. I have buffs on literally every team. Jimbro in particular, even the team that I have with Ike has buffs on it. So yeah, Tina just has immense value, I feel like. But luckily we have Gatry here, who should be fine against Felix. My problem will potentially be whether or not I can actually take anything out after the initiation. So hopefully it'll work out in my favor. I gotta try to set this up so that Amelia is at least able to far save and she doesn't lose all of her buffs, because she needs at least 3 buffs, which is another
What do we do?
I could have run a different far save, one that would have been able to counterattack. That's one of, again, it's Amelia's biggest weakness. I really think she'd be better off as a near save, but I'm running her as a far save in this composition, so I just gotta deal with it. Yeah, so I just gotta find the right setup here so that I can put some buffs, or at least the majority of the buffs, on Plumeria. That's kind of what I'm aiming for here. Luckily, it looks like it's working out in my favor, and Attune Dazura doesn't have Sabotage, which would have been really bad for me with the Amelia matchup at least. So yeah, I'm gonna try to figure this out, and in the meantime, let's just go over just some additional thoughts that I had about the banner that, or at least the match that I did. Let's go over the match that I just played before this one, which was the corner ball. The corner ball, if you saw the last video, you would have seen it. I definitely think that's not very common. Literally, I was gonna not even take any rematches this week, because I figured the rematches that I was taking last week weren't the greatest. It's kind of matching up into not that great defenses. But then I was like, all right, let's just do this one, see what's there, because he played really well against my defense, and I thought I should check out what he had. And to my surprise, it was a corner ball, and I was like, all right, let's give this one a try. It's so random, the things that you run into sometimes. And just looking at the setup, I was like, I know I had a Sigurd team lined up that I wanted to try out this week, but I dropped Sigurd after that match. I was like, Sigurd would not have helped me against that Marnie in the slightest. Not only that, he would have just been initiating again and again and doing 0 damage. So I dropped Sigurd after that one. I was like, nah, this isn't gonna work. And I dropped Reagan as well, because she's been just absolutely useless all week. So yeah, put Thea back in for a couple of those spots, and tried to put some type of what really struck me was the fact that I couldn't outspeed Fjorm. That's plus 43 speed on top of 60, that's over 100 speed that she's getting in combat. So I don't think you realize how big a number that is. That's that's 110. No, it probably could get to 110, somewhere around there, depending on where I would have attacked from, because I was avoiding Tamara. So, and also she wasn't getting some of the drives from Sedith. So yeah, it really was, I kind of did something similar just to test it out. And there was no units in my barracks, none whatsoever, that I could get anywhere close to the amount of speed that Fjorm was putting out. Especially with the debuffs that you can. There's so many debuffs in the game currently in combat. It's crazy. Debuffs and buffs that you can put on a defense. It just makes that whole corner ball setup highly, highly favorable. It's just whether or not you can get the rally thing to work. And he did a really good job with locking Ashnard, I must say. because if Ashnard wasn't locked, then the defense would have forced itself down. It would have fallen apart. So a well-built defense in that sense. But I think overall, the thing that really just like I took from that match was speed creep is like back in a really big way. Like speed is back. Like that's definitely like the one thing that stood out to me, how fast those units were. Even Marnie was hitting some speeds that was preventing Jimbro from quadding, and I was like, man, that's a lot of speed on a slow armored unit. So I don't know, man. The game is getting to, I don't know what they're going to put out, that because of course the next couple of banners is going to lead us to the ninja banner, and there's always a unit on that banner that does a ton of work. So I don't know what unit they're going to put out on that ninja banner that's going to help us to bust through units like Duo Fjorm, or at least be able to keep up with her in terms of speed, because she can get incredibly fast with the right support. Yeah, man. So yeah, there's that speed. The speed meta is definitely back 100%. Units like even this Felix, man, you can support him in such a way that he is just impossible to outspeed. I was even I was just going like through some of my replays on defense. I was thinking maybe I should put Sedith on defense just to get the extra flat 14 speed, I believe it is, and the flat damage reduction that goes with that. But I think it's a little bit too toxic to do that. I mean, as you've seen from the replay that you just saw in the previous match, it is quite toxic. So, but I mean, if people want to do that, that is indeed an option. Put in Sedith on defense. It does work a ton, especially if you're using a low block where the opponent has to bait out your defense. The 3 spaces is a big deal for Sedith. It works so well with bait teams. So you can really just get that set up to work properly if you know what you're doing with building your defense. Putting Sedith somewhere in the front line, highly recommended. I think maybe even Astra on this new banner will work in a similar way. The only thing is he doesn't give out, like, from what I was just going over from like PM1's video and just looking at I was trying to reread it, he doesn't give any flat damage reduction. That's a big deal. I genuinely think Sedith is better because of the flat damage reduction. Even Hathrun is better because of the extra action that she gives out, whereas you're getting stats, all of it pierceable, and status effects, plus the special acceleration from Asker. I think all of those things will age really well, but Sedith will age even better because flat stats, flat damage reduction, you just can't ignore that. That is so good as a support. So yeah, I was just going over the banner. I genuinely don't think you need to pull on this Halloween banner. There's a lot of good things here, a lot of meta moving things, a lot of upgrades that you can put out on your units, but I think we already have things in the game that are better than what you could potentially pick up on that latest banner. Very happy that I was able to take out Felix there with Amelia. I was quite surprised that she was able to outspeed him there, but no merges, not moving any spaces. Those 2 things worked out in my favor. All I gotta do now is get rid of the range units and we should be GG's. Amelia lost her distant counter, didn't she? I should have danced Gatry. That would have given him more buffs. I wasn't thinking there. Okay, she'll be fine. So yeah, definitely think that the Halloween banner isn't like a must summon, but I am going to summon on it anyway because I feel like I could do some extra work with some of that fodder, especially on Marnie. Healing 14 instead of 7 is a big thing for her. So that's definitely something that I'm planning to get a spare copy of, that knob. And overall, I feel like it's good that a lot of those skills are going to be in Hall of Forms in a couple of months, in a couple of weeks, so that you can get those skills on newer units moving forward. I don't think we'll get it for the latest batch of Hall of Forms, so there's some pickups there, but I think we'll get decent units from Hall of Forms, so it should be fine. Don't know if we're going to get any armors though. That is I haven't seen what the next batch is going to be, so that's to be decided. But man, that was a really tough match, and I hope I don't come across too many of those stacked up defenses. Luckily, it was in the last part of my video, so I'm pretty sure no one's going to copy that because most people don't watch until the end. So there's that. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't become too common. The thing about it too is that it's pretty easy to build that defense because Astronaut is free to play, Sedis is free to play. Most people pulled for Hathroon or Becky. A lot of people have. You can replace Fjorm, Ascended Fjorm, any armored unit with Shield Fighter fast could replicate that build. So that's not it. The thing about that is it's not difficult to copy. The only thing that was there that I thought you probably could upgrade is Tamara. I think that Gold Mary works a lot better in that position because she gives way more stats. I guess the 10 flat, on special proc is a big thing, but Gold Mary ultimately I think works out better. That's what I did. I put Gold Mary there, and I got way better results in terms of just speed matchups and stuff. But yeah, not something that I want to come across again. I'm gonna put that out there because even with the triangle attack, it just wasn't enough. You could probably even put like a fast near save in that spot as well to not get outsped by Crom. So what do you do with those things put together? But anyway, this match has also been pretty challenging. I'm just picking off units where I can because they're out of position, but this is actually really tough because of Tina. Luckily, they're not doing any damage, and the fact that I'm not healing either is also annoying, but luckily they're not doing any significant damage, so Amelia should be able to tank this one out. And then I'm gonna get the pots and get out of here, but this has also been another tough match. Woo. I had a pretty easy start to the week, but it looks like we're just at that stage where we're coming against better built defenses. I guess I could probably have done I was considering I probably could have done better with Ike in this setup, but I decided against it. I feel like right now the melee nukes are actually better than the range nukes in the game. I feel like melee is doing a ton more for. I feel like having range nukes on your defense is a positive currently, but you probably want to start going like full melee, in my opinion, especially with how mobile you can make your defense with Sigurd's Ring, Silica Warping. I feel like you're probably better off going full melee, and this is probably the first time that I've ever considered that to be an option, because before that, the biggest thing about melee defenses was the range, and I feel like they've remedied a ton of that, especially looking at Dagger getting her latest version, which will more than likely have Pathfinder. I definitely think they have steered the game in a direction where the melee units are some of the more valuable units, and I really appreciate that because range nukes have had supremacy in the game for a very long time. And I feel like it's a good thing that the melee options are finally getting a chance to shine. So that's something to consider. Just going full melee on defense, it's definitely an option that I think will get you a lot better results in the current state of the game. Like even looking at something like Summoner Duels, the team compositions that you've seen lately, really just Omni tanks plus maybe one range nuke. But it's just a ton of Omni tanks, and it hasn't been like that before. It was typically all range nukes with some type of AoE, and then maybe one save that can fight melee combat. But now it's complete opposite. It's just Omni tank after Omni tank with one range option, if any at all. So, and it's usually a tuned Micaiah. But yeah, we're picking off the units one by one. Hanoka has been really disappointing so far, but she's bonus, so I'm going to keep using her. Yeah. Oh man, interesting week. Interesting. Definitely got to say that. Let me see if there's anything I'm missing. I think I also want to point out the fact that whenever IS gives us units that are this tanky, or save units that are just tanky in general, there's usually something coming that's going to shake up the meta to make it so that the save units that they just gave us are a little bit more difficult to use. And I feel like Groot or Tree Man from the story is probably going to be coming out pretty soon. When's the next? I think at the end of November, I think. So yeah, I think we're going to be getting him more than likely, because whenever the game has this many armored units that are just so dominant, there's always something that comes that kind of knocks them back a peg. And I think we should definitely be careful how much we invest into our save units moving forward, or at least for the next coming months. I mean, you can go all in and just have fun with them for the time being, but I don't think they're going to last very long, or at least that meta isn't going to last very long. What I also noticed was that even with Embla, I didn't realize that she was like so much of a non-issue with her feud effects, and why feud was given to Veronica, because of course they needed more units. Veronica is kind of, well, I guess she's Emblem, so it kind of makes sense in that regards, but it's a big non-issue because Micaiah cleanses it and Freyr cleanses it. So her being in the regular pool or just being on a seasonal banner isn't that much of a big deal. So yeah, there's definitely going to be something coming that's going to be even more damaging to saves than feud. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I definitely think it's going to be here at least by next month, end of next month into December. And also I was wondering what the fact that we had Beast for Halloween means for the New Year's banner. How is that going to end up? Because from the store, it's OCs, and the OCs this year have all been Beast units. There hasn't been any unit that isn't a Beast unit. So let's see what happens there, but GG's. See you in the next one.